Russia has launched a massive missile and drone attack in Kyiv. At least 2 people have been killed. Kyiv officials say that this is the most powerful drone and missile attack in months. Several buildings were hit by falling debris from weapons brought down by Ukraine's air defenses. Russia's military has said that it repelled a drone attack in an airport in the city of Pskov. It is located in the western part of Russia. Officials said 4 transport aircraft were damaged. A video shot from a residential area showed a fire that engulfed the area where the attack happened. This is reportedly the biggest attack in Russia since the war began 18 months ago. Russia has accused Ukraine for the attack and said that it will not go unpunished. Ukraine's border service has released some new footage. It shows a 28-year-old man who attempted to illegally leave the country being detained. Ukraine has banned men between 18 and 60 years of age from leaving the country during wartime. They can only leave if they have been granted special permission by the government. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan plans to visit Russia and meet President Vladimir Putin. The 2 leaders are slated to discuss the Black Sea grain deal. According to Turkish media, the meeting will be held in the Russian city of Sochi. This comes as Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is set to meet his Turkish counterpart Hakan Fidan in Moscow on Thursday. Fidan will listen to Russia's opinion on the grain deal before he takes the discussion to the United Nations. Military officers in the Central African country of Gabon have announced that they have seized power. They said that they are going to annul the election results in which President Ali Bongo was declared the winner. Gabon's opposition parties claim that last week's election was fraudulent. A court in Pakistan has extended the jail custody of former Prime Minister Imran Khan for 14 days. This is because Khan faces charges of leaking state secrets. This comes after Pakistan's Tehreek-e-Insaf chief got bail in the Tosha Khana gift case. Imran Khan remains banned from politics for 5 years. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has said that the country is set to hold a referendum. This is to change the constitution to recognise Australia's Indigenous people. The referendum will be held on October 14th. Australians will be asked to vote on whether or not they support altering the constitution to include the Voice to Parliament. The Voice to Parliament is an Indigenous committee. It will advise Australia's Parliament on matters affecting Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islanders. Canada has identified its first case of the coronavirus infection involving the highly mutated BA.2.86 variant of Omicron. It has been identified in an individual in the province of British Columbia. Health officials say the patient did not travel outside the Canadian province. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida invited his ministers to eat lunch with seafood caught from the Fukushima prefecture. Ministers were served with flounder, sea bass and octopus sashimi caught in the waters near Fukushima. The move comes at a time when Beijing has banned all Japanese seafood imports. China took this decision as Japan released treated wastewater from the Fukushima nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean. The Indian Space Research Organization's PRAGYAN rover has confirmed the presence of sulphur on the moon. The rover has also detected oxygen, silicon, titanium, calcium and aluminium. Since its deployment from the lander, the PRAGYAN rover has covered a distance of approximately 8 meters. India is the first nation that landed its spacecraft near the moon's south pole. In climate news, climate change is likely to worsen conflicts in fragile and war-torn states. It can result in higher death rates and greatly reduce the global GDP. This is according to a report by the International Monetary Fund. The report says climate shocks can worsen political unrest and exacerbate hunger and poverty. Climate change concerns are rising around the Grey Glacier in the South American nation of Chile. Pieces of ice from the melted glacier are being seen more frequently even in winters. This is due to rising global temperatures. Experts say glaciers play a crucial role in maintaining global temperatures. the Australian government is refusing to release a climate report. The report details how the climate crisis will fuel national security threats. Last year, Anthony Albanese ordered the creation of the report in line with his election promise. Australia is also refusing to say when the report was completed. The Australian government insists the date too is classified. This has raised concerns over the secrecy of the Australian government and the report's findings. The residents of a small coastal town in the U.S. state of Florida are considering leaving their homes. This comes as Hurricane Idalia approaches Florida. At least 23 Florida counties have posted evacuation orders. Idalia is expected to hit the region in a few hours. Meanwhile, heavy rain doused the Cuban capital of Havana. This was after Idalia strengthened in its path over the Gulf of Mexico. It intensified into a hurricane early on Tuesday. Footage showed passengers screaming on board a flight in Spain. The flight experienced turbulence due to an ongoing storm affecting Spain's Balearic Islands. It was bound for Alicante but returned to Mallorca due to poor weather conditions. People living near the shores of Italy's Lake Como began cleanup operations. The streets of a village near the lake were invaded by mud and debris. This was after torrential rain triggered a landslide in the region. Meanwhile, Italian authorities have warned of a potential flood risk in other parts of the country. A wildfire has been burning in northeast Greece for 11 days. It has now destroyed an area larger than America's New York City. This is according to the Copernicus Climate Change Service. The fire in Greece killed at least 20 people last week. It has now become the largest fire ever recorded in the European Union. A drought is threatening Sri Lanka's summer rice harvest. This is while the country is trying to recover from its worst financial crisis in decades. The southwest monsoon was weak this year due to the El Niño weather pattern. Moreover, weather forecasters predict there will be no rain in Sri Lanka until October this year. American businesswoman Martha Stewart is being slammed for using an actual iceberg for a cocktail. Stewart shared a few vacation photos showing her using pieces of an iceberg for her drink. She was then criticized for her actions amid the ongoing climate crisis. Many are calling Martha Stewart out for environmental insensitivity. In business and tech news, U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo has said that American companies complained about China's business atmosphere. She says the companies have stated that China has become uninvestable. They allegedly said that fines, raids and other actions have made it risky to do business in the Asian country. Raimondo said this at a press conference during her trip to China. Toyota has restarted operations at its assembly plants in Japan. This is after yesterday's glitch brought work at its 14 Japanese factories to a standstill. Toyota resumed work at a dozen plants this morning. Production at the remaining 2 plants began in the afternoon. The automaker is still investigating the cause of yesterday's glitch. The U.S. markets regulator has issued a legal warning to Citigroup. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has accused the financial firm of violating record-keeping requirements. Citigroup has neither accepted nor denied the accusations. However, it has agreed to pay a penalty of nearly $3 million to the SEC. Goldman Sachs will pay a penalty of $5.5 million. This is over an order from the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The CFTC has accused Goldman Sachs of failing to keep a record of its staff cell phone calls. It allegedly failed to record the phone lines of a trading and sales desk for 20 days in January and February 2014. This breached rules that require firms to retain certain work-related communications. According to government data, Australia's inflation dropped to a 17-month low in July. The country's monthly consumer price index rose 4.9% in July. That's down from 5.4% recorded in the previous month. This was reportedly due to falls in holiday travel and fuel prices. As a result, markets are now expecting the Australian Central Bank to pause its rate hike for September. Retailer Walmart is reportedly asking some of its pharmacists in the US to voluntarily take pay cuts. This is by reducing their work hours. For this, the company is targeting pharmacists in the higher wage bracket. Walmart is aiming to cut its operational costs with this move. A lawsuit against Burger King is headed to court. This is over the size of its Whopper burger. The lawsuit alleges that the company's in-store menu boards show a much bigger Whopper burger than what is actually served. Burger King allegedly makes the burger appear 35% larger than it is. It also reportedly displays more than double the meat compared to what's served in an actual Whopper. Meta Platforms says it has uncovered Chinese law enforcement's links with the quote-unquote SPAMOUFLAGE campaign. Over several years, the SPAMOUFLAGE campaign aimed to push positive narratives about China. Moreover, it also spread negative commentary about the United States and critics of the Chinese government. Meta said it has shut down about 9,000 Facebook and Instagram accounts related to the SPAMOUFLAGE campaign. Demonstrators gathered outside the Google Cloud Next conference on Tuesday. This was to protest against the company's contract with the Israeli government. Under the contract, Google provides cloud services to Israel's public sector and military. Protesters alleged that the cloud technology was being used against Palestinians for surveillance and racial segregation. Elon Musk has issued a warning to people trying to manipulate the new creator monetization program on the social media platform X. Musk said accounts that attempt to do so will be suspended. In April, X, then known as Twitter, introduced the creator compensation feature. It allows its paid subscribers to profit from the content they create. Now let's move on to sports. We start with cricket. The England and Wales Cricket Board has increased the match fees of its women cricketers. The body said that the women's team will earn the same amount as the men's side. The new pay deal comes against the backdrop of the thrilling Women's Ashes. The deal will come into effect immediately with England's T20 series against Sri Lanka that starts next week. Indian wicketkeeper batter KL Rahul will not be playing in the first two matches of the 2023 Asia Cup. This was confirmed by India's cricket coach Rahul Dravid. KL Rahul was earlier included in the 17-member squad announced by India's chief selector Ajit Agarkar. India faced Pakistan and Nepal in their first two Asia Cup matches. The first match, India versus Pakistan, will be played on September 2nd. Co-hosts Sri Lanka have announced their squad list for the 2023 Asia Cup. Dasun Shanaka will be captaining the team for the tournament. All-rounder Wanindu Hasaranga has been ruled out due to an injury. Hasaranga was the leading run scorer and highest wicket taker in the Lanka Premier League this year. Sri Lanka's first match in the Asia Cup is against Bangladesh. It will be played on August 31st in Pallekele. Megan Rapinoe will play her last match for the US women's football team on September 24th. The announcement was made by the US Soccer Federation. Rapinoe's last game will be a friendly against South Africa in Chicago. The United Nations Human Rights Office has backed Spain's Jenny Hermoso. The UN body said, and I quote, "Everyone has a responsibility to call out and challenge sexual harassment and abuse." Hermoso was kissed by Spain's football chief Luis Rubiales. The incident took place after the FIFA Women's World Cup final during post-match celebrations. Rubiales has so far refused to resign despite intense pressure from football fans and the Spanish government. Al Nassr beat Al Shabaab 4-0 in the Saudi Pro League on Tuesday. Cristiano Ronaldo scored 2 penalties in the first half of the game. Then Sadio Mane scored in the 40th minute to give Al Nassr a 3-goal lead. The last goal came from Sultan Al Ghanam in the 80th minute. In tennis, Venus Williams was knocked out of the US Open yesterday. Williams suffered her most lopsided loss at a Grand Slam. The 43-year-old was crushed by Belgian Greet Minen 1-6, 1-6. Williams is a 2-time US Open champion, and this was her 24th appearance at the tournament. Carlos Alcaraz cruised into the second round at the US Open. The 20-year-old Spaniard was playing against Germany's Dominik Kupfer. However, the match was abandoned after WHOPPER retired due to an injury. Alcaraz had won the first set 6-2 and was leading 3-2 in the second set. He is the defending champion of the US Open. In the women's singles, world number 2 Aryna Sabalenka also won her opening round at the US Open. Sabalenka overpowered Belgian Marina Zanevska 6-3, 6-2 to progress to the second round. India's Mirabai Chanu has decided to not compete in the upcoming World Weightlifting Championships 2023. She'll only be attending the weigh-in at Riyadh but not lifting. This is to mark her attendance at the World Championships, which is mandatory to be eligible for the Paris Olympics next year. The Indian Olympic medalist took the decision to avoid any injuries ahead of the Asian Games 2023. In entertainment news, late-night show hosts Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers and John Oliver are launching a podcast. They will voice their experiences with the ongoing Hollywood actors and writers strike. These hosts have supported the strike since it began in May. The group has been providing food to strikers who have been at the picket lines. Several actors from the hit shows Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul have come to the picket line. This is to show support to their fellow actors and writers who have been on strike. Actor Bryan Cranston said, and I quote, "We are not making the studios our enemy. We just want them to see reality and fairness and come back to the table." The striking writers and actors have been demanding fair pay and the regulation of the use of AI. The list of actors who are expected to attend the Toronto Film Festival has been released. It includes actors Sean Penn, Dakota Johnson, Finn Wolfhard, Viggo Mortensen, Maya Hawke and Nicolas Cage. Some Hollywood A-listers have pulled out of this year's festival. They include Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Olivia Colman and Glenn Powell, among others. Singer Taylor Swift has become the first female artist in Spotify history to reach 100 million monthly listeners. Spotify shared the news on its social media handles with the caption, "Queen Behavior." Singer The Weeknd holds the #1 spot for the most monthly listeners on the application. Bad Bunny holds the #3 spot and Ed Sheeran holds the #4 spot. Singer Selena Gomez has shared a picture of her sister Gracie Tiffy giving a haircut to David Beckham's son Brooklyn Beckham. Tiffy can be seen wearing an oversized Mean Girls t-shirt. Gomez has been close friends with Beckham Jr. She's also friends with his wife Nicola Peltz Beckham. Singer Adele has revealed that she's ready to be a mother again. While speaking to her fans at the Weekends with Adele show in Las Vegas, Adele expressed her desire to have another child soon. Adele has a 10-year-old son called Angelo. She's currently dating sports agent Rich Paul. The two have been romantically involved since 2021. K-pop band Tomorrow X Tomorrow, or TXT, will return in October with their third studio album. The album, titled The Name Chapter Free Fall, will roll out on October 13th. This will be the group's first full-length album since 2021. TXT reached their first ever #1 spot on the Billboard 200 chart with the album The Name Chapter Temptation. Actor Sarah Jessica Parker has adopted the cat that belonged to her and Just Like That character, Carrie Bradshaw. The cat's name is Shoo. Parker shared a picture of her new pet on Instagram saying, "If he looks familiar, that's because he is." The show, And Just Like That, is a spin-off of the hit series Sex and the City. Former Bachelorette contestant Josh Saiter is very much alive. The news comes after a social media statement claimed that he had died. Saiter posted a video message on Tuesday saying that his Instagram account was hacked. The 36-year-old said, "As you can see, I am alive and well. Somebody was playing a cruel joke and mocking my mental illness." Singer, songwriter and producer Ray David Jacobs has died aged 31. He was also popularly known as August 08. He's best known for co-writing the hit song I'm the One by DJ Khaled, which also features Justin Bieber and Quavo. The reason behind his death remains unknown.